Good morning. Welcome back, everybody. And before I launch into the story about how I'm a giant moron, I thought I would just ask, hey, if you're new to the channel, it'd be great if you subscribed or shared the video or liked it. That would be really helpful. So, without further ado, in the spirit of doing something really incredibly stupid, I am the first person to tell on myself when I do something incredibly dumb. Why? Because I like laughing and I like laughing at myself, and if you're going to make fun of me, all I say is, hey, just tell me about the joke so I can laugh along too. So let me tell you a story about my tractor here. This is a John Deere tractor that many of you are familiar with that I got because we have a very long driveway. Now our driveway is very long, and we needed a way to remove a lot of snow because it snows, pretty heavily from time to time. So, yesterday was no different. It snowed pretty heavily, got around 8 or 9 inches, and I'm thinking, okay, no big deal. I've got this tractor back in November. It's a John Deere 425. It's 1999. It's 20 years old, but has fairly low miles, low hours. About 600 hours. So that's about, a third of its life. No big deal, got a pretty good deal, and I got the snowblower attachment on it too for a reasonable price. So I thought I got a good deal. No big deal, right? And delivered it all good, used it several times, a couple hiccups, but that was just, user error and me trying to figure things out. So fast forward to yesterday, and I come out kind of leisurely taking my time because I know, hey, it's a John Deere. Everybody who comes to the shop sees the shop, goes, hey, nice John Deere tractor. This thing's pretty sweet, gonna last you a lifetime, right? Okay, so I'm thinking, I'm pretty confident, no big deal. I walk out here, I go in, I turn the key, boom, starts right up, no problem. Within 10 seconds, boom, shuts down. Okay? Now, it's pretty cold, and, hey, cold stuff happens, no big deal. So I will go ahead and, kind of do the standard protocol, and I'll go ahead and, try start it up. Maybe the choke is not right or sort of thing. Standard cold, start procedure. And at this point, it's not starting. And then my battery dies. I'm like, all right, fine. Take all the fairings off, all the fenders off, and hook it up to the charger. Turns out, still not doing it. So pull a spark plug just to kind of make sure, and it's completely fouled. It is full of fuel. So I'm thinking, okay, fuel, no big deal. I'll just air it out for a while. It's flooded, and we'll come back in 20 minutes. Now, mind you, my driveway is it's got a big loop on one end. It's about 12 to 14 feet wide, and it's just under a quarter-mile long. So we had just gotten 9 inches, and probably wasn't going to happen by me doing it by hand. So I really need this thing to work, and so I'm starting to get a little panicked. And I go back to it. The charger's been on it the whole time, and we're still nothing. Okay, so let's start backtracking engine 101, and I pull a spark plug, tap it to the head, turn the key, getting spark. Okay, what's the big deal? I've got the three essential things that you need for a motor to run. You've got air. It's all around us. Okay, you need spark. Okay, I verified that. It's a little weak, but, it's a small engine. No big deal. I'm not expecting like a car, the big zap or anything. And I checked both spark plugs. They're totally fine. So I've got spark and I've got fuel. And I go grab my can of starting fluid just to see, maybe it's something internal in the carburetor. Spray it right down the carburetor. Nothing. Nothing. Not a thing. Okay. I don't know a whole lot about John Deere tractors specifically, but I know a lot about just in general maintenance. So I check all the fuses. Everything seems to be fine. Turn the key. Fuel pump seems to be working. There's a clear fuel line there, filter, and it looks like it's full of fuel. Okay, no big deal. Maybe I flooded it again. So I take it all apart. I fiddle with it for a good 2 hours. Kid you not. 2 hours. Before I just resigned myself to the fact that I'm going to have to do this with my, small little kind of 22-inch wide snowblower. And that's going to really suck because I have a gravel driveway, and you need some ice pack on it. And basically the ice pack will kind of just allow you to flat driveway so you're not kicking up rocks in your nice new snowblower. So I go ahead and throw the thing aside, fairings off, tools everywhere, and I get back and I'm beat. I'm tired because it's a very, 9+ inches of snow in a very long driveway. So here's what happens. I learned a few things. This is the Occam's razor situation. If you're not familiar, Occam's razor, the short version is there was a person who set up a challenge with a bunch of knots in a ribbon, and anybody who could untie all the knots would win the prize. And essentially what happened is a little boy came up after everybody had tried, everybody in the whole town had tried and couldn't get this ribbon untied, came up with a pair of scissors, snipped it, and won the prize. Which basically means the most simple answer is usually the right answer, okay? Because I'm very familiar with, just how engines work, I had kind of skipped over one of the real basic things because I trusted some information that was faulty. So I finished the driveway, come back, realized that had to be done. I'm pretty tired. Realized, okay, well, maybe I'll just go get some spark plugs. Hey, probably fouled them out. No big deal. They're cheap. What the hell? Come back, realized, put those in, same exact thing. So now I'm like, all right, so I pull the carburetor off. I start pulling some things apart, realize that no, everything seems pretty clear. There's no gunk, there's no, nothing. It seems fine. I can smell fuel, so that's not the issue, right? Right? Well, put the carburetor back on. And I decided, okay, well, maybe I've got a clogged fuel line. That standard kind of 3/8 fuel line that goes from the fuel pump to the filter, then from the filter to the carburetor. And so I pulled that off and I hit the pump and put a clear line on it so I can watch the fuel this time. Fuel goes up about that far and stops. Okay. Do I have a clogged fuel line? Look through the fuel line. Nope. Clean as a whistle. Okay. That's not the issue. Start backtracking a little bit. I noticed the fuel pump, it kind of comes on. Okay, maybe I got a bad fuel pump. Where's the fuel pump? Let's go look. And I know where you realize where this is going. And again, the most simple answer is the obvious answer. And that day, I realized my used, new to me John Deere tractor has a broken fuel level sending unit. Never once occurred to me to think, I wonder why after, 4 or 5 hours of driving this thing, why the fuel level has never gone down. Never occurred to me. Never even thought about it. Thought, this must get really good, hours per gallon. Who knows? I don't know. It's the first time I've ever owned a John Deere tractor. It was out of gas. I did all that, and it was out of gas. I did find a gas leak, though, at the carburetor that had happened prior to me, so that was something that needed to be fixed anyway. So good, bad, otherwise, I guess you could call it however you want. So I did learn a valuable lesson. Don't always trust your gauge, and in the movies they always go tap, 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 and the gauge starts working again. Well, usually it's the sending unit, not the gauge itself. So again, first one to tell you that I do something stupid, and that was the answer. The answer was, I had a bad fuel level sending unit. It was giving me a bad reading. I trusted it. I tried a couple things, and what had ended up happening was that those things didn't work to verify that there was a fuel issue. Remember, I sprayed starting fluid down there, and that wasn't working, so that was kind of eliminated from the checklist. Well, the obvious thing would have been to check if there was any flippin' fuel in the damn gas tank, which I didn't do. This is the equivalent, this is how I look at it, this is the equivalent of somebody in tech support saying, calling somebody and saying, oh, hey, my monitor doesn't work. Oh, okay, have you tried, resetting it? Have you tried doing this? And about 20 minutes later, the tech person goes, is it plugged in? And realize that is not plugged in. That's the equivalent of this. So, again, I'm the first person to admit when I screw up, and I'm the first person to tell you, I'm going to run to tell you, hey, you see this stupid thing I did? Here's what happened. And I'm going to have a hell of a story for you because it's fun. And nobody's perfect. I'm not perfect. Neither are you. And, you know, I enjoy YouTubers who share their foibles, their stupid stuff when they screw up, because everybody does. And I enjoy seeing that because it makes me feel less like a complete idiot. So, if anything, I serve as a legitimate, you know, force to don't do what I do sort of thing. Learn from my mistakes, people. So, if anything, first things first, check to see if there's fuel. That would have saved me 4 hours, 2 hours of fiddling with it, 2 hours of using the snowblower on the long driveway. Saved me a lot of time and muscle, because now I'm sore. I fell asleep very quickly, very easily last night because I was sore shoveling and doing it the manual way, the sucker's way, in my opinion. So for whatever it's worth, that's my story. That's my idiocy. Don't do what I do. Check your basics first, and good luck.